It's on. We on now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, or good afternoon from wherever you are connected, and welcome to Africa ELTA keynote speech, the second keynote speak of Africa ELTA, delivered by Elham Yahia, Dr. Elham Yahia from New York, United States. Dr. Elham Yahia is a researcher, educator, advisor, facilitator, and bilingual and multicultural at St. John's University School of Education, Specialties and Counseling. Also, Department of Humanities at New York, Borough of Manhattan College, Community College. Born and raised in East Africa, she received a bachelor's degree from University of Khartoum, Sudan. Dr. Yahia put special focus on the role of education in our today's world, investigating the influence of multiculturalism and multilingual on language education. She also highlighted the issues of literacy education, teachers training, and fellowship program, as well as global and comparative education. Well, with special focus on global education issues, this includes, but not limited to, education, equity and inequality teaching and learning, leadership and instruction, globalization and current education issues, diversity and inclusion, disadvantaged students, empowerment and gender, and racial equity and inequality. Dr. Yahia attended several international educational conferences in the capacity of invited speakers as well as presenters. She has a large-scale publication contribution in books and articles, magazine, etc. Thank you, Dr. Yahia, for being here today. And I'll pass over to you for your keynote speech.
Thank you, Adi. Thank you very much, ELTA, for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here today, and I would like to thank you all for a very valuable sessions and valuable conference we had since yesterday and today. A lot of tremendous contributions to the multilingualism area by your fascinated ideas and efforts. I would like to share with you in this unique platform some of my insights and results that I have found it through my research and my journey as an educator in the English language in a multilingualism perspectives, which I titled Language Teaching in Multilingualism Model, Taking Cultures via Students-Centered Approach. Hopefully we'll have a smooth sailing through this. I assume not going to be a long speech. Okay. Not going to the next one. Next slide. Okay. Okay. So a brief introduction, as we all and many of us have highlighted the impact of globalization and expectation regarding fluency and English, which is presumed today as the lingua franca. All researchers, educators have been looking at what will make our learners, both in a foreign and second language setting, learn English, and how can we ease that. In this regard, we found many studies have put special emphasis on students' motivation to learn English as a foreign language and its relationship to their academic achievements. We also looked at other things like self-efficacy, like the gender roles, these particularly in the multilingualism. Researchers such as Bandura, Locke, Clays, Wakefield, Reynolds, and Anwar, and I'm sure you all know what their contribution in that field. Taking Africa multilingualism model as an example, and within the EFL area, several studies investigated the student intention on why they want to learn English. And I guess that's why we are here today, to ease up their learning journey. So we have found few studies that have examined the factors of student intentions, motivation, and self-efficacy, and all these factors conjointly. Uh, in this presentation, I'm attempting to do so, giving you an example of a college-level student in an EFL setting, multilingual country. What drives their motivation? So highlights of the finding of this study, which I'm going to share it later on this presentation. It's driven from a purposeful sampling of the participant. And I used mixed method, quantitative and qualitative. And the reason for that, I try to employ or to run a cross-check on all the quantitative data and vice versa. Briefly, qualitative as well as in order to add breadth and depth to the study's results. I have been looking, as I said earlier, on the motivation from different points, and we have several definitions that's provided by well-known researchers in the field. Maybe the famous one by Guthrie and Wakefield: motivation is one's desire to achieve certain task, and that motivation is crucial to learning success. Clays and Wakefield also, they defined motivation, or the operational definition of motivation is also as a sum of forces that accounts for the arousal selections, directions, and continuation of behaviors. The motivation in EFL, ESL, we have one foundational studies backed by Lambert and Gardner that studied the relationship between learners' attitude and motivation for second language learners. And they presented differentiation between integrative and instrumental motivation for foreign language learners. Going forward, the other factor, self-efficacy, we have defined by Bandura and Locke as individual confidence in their ability to solve problems or accomplish a specific task. Others by Zimmerman and Bandura, another study, stated that self-efficacy beliefs should be measured in terms of particularized judgment of capability that may vary across realm of activity of different level or task. Extra thing, self-efficacy, motivation, and achievement have been looked at also on the research as conjoint thing. And was found that there was a positive correlation between students' motivation and achievement. That's on the Wakefield studies. Wiener found that self-efficacy beliefs are correlated with other motivation constructs and with the student academic performances and achievement. For this study, briefly I'm going to state the problem that few studies examine gender differences and relationship between learners' self-efficacy and their motivation to read English. In the area of EFL is investigated the impact of self-efficacy and gender on a student's motivation, yet there is no study that I'm aware of that have examined self-efficacy, motivation, and achievement and gender role conjointly. The present study, which is this one I'm sharing with you, looked at self-efficacy and to see if any gender effect through both qualitative and the quantitative methods that I've been using. The research design, as it's a mixed method, and the participant, college level, the population, college level student, ages 19 to 25, and the sampling two classes. We decided to select a sophomore and senior student, demographic college level student who are learning English as a foreign language. Okay. Okay. The instrument used, we have developed a survey or a questionnaire, Motivation for Learning English as a Foreign Language, MLEFL. That's developed by the researcher for the purpose of the study. It's a 6-question survey, which respondents selected one of the 4 choices: strongly agree, strongly disagree, disagree, agree, and strongly agree. This survey was developed to meet the goals of the study by focusing on college level students' motivation in learning EFL. How we content validity was tested through the motivation to learn EFL, and the reliability yielded at the Cronba Alpha 0.75, which is considered very good. The general self-efficacy scale that used on this study was developed by Schwarzer and Jerusalem in 1995 to measure the student self-efficacy. We also, to measure a achievement, we use the TOEFL score. That's a random TOEFL from the internet. The qualitative instrument was the participant interviews. For the quantitative part, our participants are 60, 30 male and 30 females. We went with the equal portions. And also the MLFEL survey and the GSA scale and the TOEFL score. Qualitative, we only selected purposeful sampling, 5 students only, and it was only interviews, lengthy ones. The research questions were 6, 5 of them were answered through the quantitative part, and 1, which is number 6, answered by the qualitative part of the study. I'm going to, as we move forward, I'm going to state the question, and we will do what we have found. Okay, the question 1, according to the MLEFL survey, what are the motivational factors for sophomore and seniors, male and female college students, to learn English as a foreign language? Very interestingly, this question was answered based on student responses to 6 MLEFL survey, the categorical question. The responses to each of the 6 questions were analyzed using the chi-square, and the first set of analysis looked at differences between male and female. As I said, we have 30 and 30. And we found no significant differences between male and females. These are the questions, and you may take a look at the table here. If you look at the question 1, significance, sophomore and seniors, very high. Okay, the question 1 of the survey. English language is very important to me. Yes or no, disagree, agree, and things like that. I do extra efforts to learn English well. That's question 2. Question 3, I enjoy learning English even though it is hard. Question 4, I want to learn English because it's fun. Question 5, I want to learn English because I can get a good paying job when I graduate. And question 6, I want to learn English to communicate with my online friends all over the world. So as you see, these questions is just like a very thorough, base, and simple questions that you can easily get the answers from a sophomore college students in general, something that within their interest, because we want to know what drives their motivation to learn English. So the result, the question 2, we have what is perceived self-efficacy of college students as measured by GSA scale. This is the second question, and we found there was no significant main effect for gender, and there was no significant interaction between gender and grade level. So there's no difference on that. And you can see the correlational thing, the mean square and the sum squares here in this table. Okay. Question 3, if there are significant differences between TOEFL scores of male and female sophomores and seniors, Sudanese college level students. There was no significant main effect for gender again, and there was no significant interaction between gender and grade level. And we have here on question 4, what is the relationship between a student's self-efficacy and motivation when learning English as a foreign language? And the result indicated a significant correlation between a student's motivation measured by MLEFL, that's the instrument we developed, and student self-efficacy measured by general self-efficacy scale. Question 5, what is the relationship among motivation, self-efficacy, and achievement for college level students? And there was a significant correlation between all of the variables. Question 6, which is pertained to the interviews, how do college level students describe their educational journey, and what can quantitative examination of their stories contribute to the understanding of the interrelationship among self-efficacy, motivation, gender, and achievement with this population? So I'm taking just from the interview, of course, all the names used here, it's a pseudonyms due to protective rights of participants. So I used just like a couple of statements from each interview. As I mentioned earlier, it's a lengthy interview, but we used only couples. So for example, this is one of my students, the participant who said, we lack many things at home, but I always say to myself, this will be over soon once I complete my English language education and get a teaching job. I will be able to move my family over and have a house that equipped with all the necessity. So English was looked at from her perspective as a way for a better life. Also, another statement from the same student that's saying, when I graduate, they don't have to work. She meant her family. They will be able to continue their education. Also, my mother, she doesn't have to work anymore. It is time for her to get rest. She has been the father and the mother for the past 15 years. And that's the social extension of this language learning, and she sees her, her achievement on that going to that direction. Another student, at the male perspective here, we said behind it, he determined to be a politician, and he thought that learning English will help him, help the status quo of his community. And he said, this is a brief statement from him, politicians who can speak different languages, especially English, not only can better represent their community, but also represent their country to the rest of the world. Besides, English language can also shine the knowledge ones have and will open many other knowledge venues. Another participant statement, number 3, sees learning English language as a way of independence. And she stated that I want to be independent. How? I asked how. She said, I mean, when I graduate, if my English language is excellent, I will be able to score a good job and be financially independent. I will not need help from no one. Big companies are now looking for candidates who speak different language. English language is at the top. One more I'm going to share from the interview. Yusuf. As I said earlier, this is all pseudonyms. These are not the real names of my participants due to the protective rights. Yusuf is thinking to be a teacher, and he thinks that using music and movies will make his classroom teaching very interesting. And he said, let me tell you something. When I watch the movies that do not have subtitles, I try to figure out the meaning from the facial expression or the actions. And I will connect that with the word being said. That helped me to learn my words and sometimes expressions. I want to teach English through drama and music. I want to explore my students' talent and employ that towards learning the language. And at the same time, I want them to have fun. I don't want my lessons to be dull or uninteresting to my students. So those who are big in drama, I think you have one more person here. Okay. He also sees that English as a way for him to travel the world and to communicate better with native speakers of English. And he think, that's what he said, I'm also thinking of using social media to communicate with friends all over the world. I don't want to just stop at bachelor degree. I will go for my master and maybe doctorate degree. And that is what I'm planning to do abroad in an English speaking country. One more female participant. I really can't say that my two, she got a little personal. And she said, I'm a person who loves to learn and loves to be free. So English for her is a way to be free. So from all this together, we found that student motivation to be the prevailing predictor of their achievement when learning English as a foreign language. These findings support the result of several experiments, of course, research studies that indicated there is a positive correlation between motivation and school achievement. However, student self-efficacy was not found to be a powerful predictor of student achievement in this study. Hafizsteed noted something in 1980 study, which I think that's something we gotta look at, when we get a chance as researchers. He stated that African students were not likely to have, were more likely to have lower self-efficacy beliefs than their peers in Europe and USA, who categorized to have high self-esteem and self-confidence. And that's very that's a statement that I think worth to look at more deep and further studies. Also, we found no gender differences. This particular finding contradicted the finding of several studies in the foreign language learning motivation, which reported that female students were more motivated to studying a foreign language than male students. That's the study is saying. So looking at the cross-case analysis and the discussion of the qualitative result, the participants in this study were found to great extent representative of their own groups, in the sense that about half of the students would want to practice profession of relationship to English as a foreign language teaching and learning, career relating to English language use, and with exception to one of them who want to be a politician, and the other one who wants to travel and things like that. Even though all participants tend to speak about their educational journey very highly, yet their stories have revealed how much they had to go through to achieve and reach what they have achieved. Discussion of the qualitative result, all participants agreed that English in an international language is an international language which enabled access to better career opportunity knowledge, information, and accordingly, financial stability. Um, all participants all seem to be investing in English, either to move up or to change their life to a better one. The economic factor, of course, that's one of the things. Um, we'll go to this slide where how can we accommodate the multilingualism in the classroom? This is just part of the recommendation. We have Hangsfield talked about equity for multilingual learners means that students' cultural and linguistic identity, background, and experiences are recognized as valued source of knowledge. Teachers of multilingual learners, which MLLs, need to respect the background that these students bring to the classroom. Let me see if I can bring this picture here. Just a second. Okay. I guess technology at some point here is not in my favor, but okay. So so he stated that teachers of MMLs need to respect the background that these students bring to the classroom. Here are critical teaching strategies for teaching multilingual learners based on ideas from Hanksfield book or on discussion stemming from the book. First, creating a safe, accepting, and engaging space for multilingual learners. Multilingual learners needs to feel that they belong and they are valued and that their ideas and perspectives are respected in the classroom. So teachers should nurture multilingual learners and give them voice and choice. Okay. When you speak to your student, lean into their conversation with your whole self. I mean, make sure you are fully attentive and open to hearing what they have to say through whatever means they prefer to express themselves. So that's the most important. That way, you will bring into the classroom even those who are disconnected, disfranchised, or maybe unmotivated students as well. The other points here I talked about re-examining the curriculum with multilingual minds. Last year, we all, for 2 years, the whole world were going through COVID, and that's enforced a lot of changes to the curriculums. We have to change a lot of the way we deliver our lessons. Curricula have been changed drastically. We moved from the modalities as well. We moved from face-to-face to Zoom, to distance learning, to online, fully online. And it was challenging for us as teachers, same as to students. We had, I'm sure many of us, we had to go through trainings on how to use certain modalities like the Blackboard, like Zoom, like WebEx. So that put yourself on the place of the students, and we need to reject the remediating our students after the pandemic and find ways to fast track learning for them so that their learning is equitable. In order to do this, we need to examine what we are teaching, draw from the lesson from the pandemic, for example, and stick to the essential learning of key ideas and use this opportunity to make learning as a student-centered. So what is easier for them to do? How can we, we take that uh, challenging part of the whole transformation, uh, you know, that took place after COVID. The third point, build multilingual learners' resilience. We all know how our students faced much adversity during, for example, the pandemic. Their family members were often out of work and they faced food insecurities. They may not have been able to go to school virtually because of they lacked the Wi-Fi and things like that, technology. Um, we want our students to rebound from this adversity, but also to learn from that experience. So we encourage our students to set goals and to become part of the school community by participating on school activities. And one of the things that I found very interesting, and it really helped me, that I let my students speak about their experience and their challenging during COVID. And I found that makes them stronger to go through that period, what the challenges they faced, the problems, and share it with the whole classroom if they are comfortable to do that. And to great extent, that helped them to look at this as just an experience and a lesson learned, and things that, oh yeah, we remember that, we have done it, we can go through when we can. And that's a big part of building their resilience. Okay, also Field introduced what is called integrate content, language, and social emotional learning so that your educational practice is equitable. And integrating content, language, and social emotional learning contribute to the equitable instructions, no doubt, building on the empathy and diversity. And teachers should introduce flexibility tasks such as, you know, journaling across content area, photos, drawing, depending, things that will enforce them to contribute more and speak more and express themselves more. You can also develop activities that help students detach themselves from their anxieties. Actually, it was found that when students speak about their anxieties, they get over their anxieties. So let them, your student, know that it's okay to make mistakes and that you will learn how to do this together. At the end, English language teachers in a multilingual setting, if they are teaching uh, English as a foreign language or English as a second language, is not an easy role. But also, beside that, you are the coach, you are the source of information, and you are the person whom they looked at as their, if to great extent, that for advisement on what they should uh, do. Um, so I guess we reach here, and of course we didn't finish everything that we need to see. I'm sure that we have a lot to say on the multilingualism uh, areas of teaching and learning. And this is just a small part of what I have found through my 10 years of teaching English in a foreign language or English language setting. Of course, I would like to conclude this with a, uh, a poem that promotes resiliency by one of our African poet, Abul Qasim al-Shabi. Of course, this poem was written originally in Arabic and it's translated to English by Bolat and Middleton. And it's titled, Whoever Shrinks from Scaling the Mountain Lives Out His Life in Fossils. Then it was Earth I questions, Mother, do you detest mankind? And Earth responded, I bless people with high ambition who do not flinch at danger. I curse people out of step with time. People content to live like stone. No horizon nourishes a dead bird. A bee will choose to kiss a living flower. If my mothering heart were not so tender, the, the dead would have no hiding place in those graves yonder. Once again, thank you so much for being here today, this session, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you, ELTA, and wish you much success ahead. Thank you. I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, now I
Sounds,
hear you.
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yahia, for this presentation that actually relates some of the real issues in our African context. And I can feel myself sometime in the classroom in many of the things that you said. And I hope the people who are connected also took something out of it. We have a couple of questions coming in the chat box, in the Q&A. If you have a question, then you can post it in the Q&A. This question is El Sheikh Eamon, who made a comment, and he would also like to comment. I'm going to promote him to speaker so he can comment. Great presentation. Thanks for sharing something original from Africa. And then, oh,
Amen. Yes.
yeah. And then there's Hofes TD, an author, classify culture as individualist and collectivist. And this has been problematic. How much trust do you have in his argument that African students have low level of self-efficacy? So I'm going to promote Dr. Eamon to comment himself, but while you are starting, maybe to answer this question first.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, you want me to comment first?
Yeah, if you
okay.
want to answer his question.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I stumbled on this study by Hafstead, and particularly this argument, I kind of start thinking why and on what basis did Hafstead came with this, and I tried to find my own and interpretation for that. I said maybe is it colonization? Is it the way? Is it the cultural issues? And it worth further and deeper studies. And I can't say I disagree 100% and or agree 100%, but I can relate. I can partially agree with that, relating to the culture, how our especially females have been raised, and in particular in Sudan. As we know, many of the African communities culturally are male dominant, and maybe that's to some extent can relate to the low self-esteem in particular. But we cannot have this one until the study that's completed, until we further, look for deeper understanding and deeper things. But Ayman, if you would like to comment that, maybe you are welcome to go ahead.
Amira, if you are there, can you promote Eamon to panelist so he
Yes.
can comment?
Yes, I did now.
Okay. So Eamon, you want to unmute yourself and make your comment. Okay. Oh, you are still muted.
He is still muted.
Yeah. Okay. He's unmuted now.
Hi. Yeah. I'm not sure if I have much to add. Well, first, thank you, Elham, for this great presentation. It's always great to hear perspectives from Africa captured in original studies. So the comment I made about Hofstede relates to overgeneralizations. Then he's being critiqued when he classified cultures into purely individualist and purely collectivist. And he goes on to argue that in collectivist societies, there is low self-efficacy, whereas in individualist societies, there is high self-efficacy. And this has been problematic because even in some individualist cultures, you will find some people who are collectivists. So he's been largely critiqued on this front. So I was just trying to see your perspective on his classification of African students as having low self-efficacy, and whether in your study noticed that. The comment I made is about motivation. You are aware of Bonnie Norton's work on identity, and she critiques the notion of motivation because she argues that motivation is a psychological construct. It cannot solely drive the learning of the students. And she complemented the notion of motivation with the notion of investment. And she argued that learners are more invested than they are motivated. And when they are invested, they see value in the learning process. And she goes on also to argue that this investment leads the learners to imagine certain identities. And I saw that in your study when Yusuf, I believe, said that he wants to become a politician. So this is a kind of imagined identity that is captured in your study. So I just wanted to make that comment, but thank you again. It's an excellent presentation. And thank you for accepting the invitation to speak at Africa ELTA's conference.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Eamon. There's another question from Dakpak. Thank you for your outstanding keynote speech, very rich with scientific findings. Now, how does a teacher in the EFL context balance valuing learners' culture and background with the socio-economic imperialism of English as viewed by most of the learners?
Okay. First, thank you, Ayman, for your comment and for encouragement. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Deepak, for your question. To answer your question, I will give example of my own classroom at Borough of Manhattan Community College, which is a school that's categorized for students that belongs to a particular socio-economic status. So yes, and most of them, they are coming from the let's say Latin America and West Africa. So I try to design the curriculum around their background. How we have a debate style, and we have the UN model when we are discussing the readings. Also, we selected our readings from different regions. We have pieces, small ones from the Paulo Coelho and Chinua Achebe and Adichie Chimamanda. So we do recognize what they have on their own culture in our own English classroom. So they feel like, oh yeah, we have this, and we know this, we know Chimamanda, we know. So I felt that gives them some type of empowerment, and they feel, they feel valued. They feel their background is being recognized. The other things, essays, for example, they have to write per semester 5 papers. And I try to differentiate, diversify the papers. Like one, we are speaking on analyzing an article from the, as I said, from the different continent, and One of the essays is one of the 5 papers is for them to choose what they want to analyze or write about. And most of the time they have a, because that relate to their background knowledge and heavily relating to their culture, they have a lot to say. And the class discussion as well is very like engaging. They speak, they talk about, not necessarily I let them be on track to speak about that specific article, but I let them also to add things from their own culture, what they found similarities between what they have read and what they have in their own culture. If, like, say for example, we're reading about some kinds of traditions in the West African during plantation and during farming and things like that. So yeah, they do have a lot to say and a lot to share. And I found that even those who are that we can say quote unquote struggling writers, they do uh, they do a lot to have their writing include all what they have know about that particular topic that related to their culture. They might not be good at essay 1 and 2, they are trying, but I think addressing their culture and get included in the curricula, that's a big step for them and very yeah, very encouraging. Okay. Any other question? I hope you answered. I hope I answered your question, Darpak Suk. Okay.
If there's any other question.
Okay. Maybe comments. If there is no question, maybe comments. We can.
Yeah,
Comments.
questions or comment. Yeah.
If you have a comments, you can raise your hand if you want. And there is a question 3 here somewhere. Okay. Oh no, that's not the one.
No, there's no question. There's no more question.
No more questions.
There's nothing in the chat, so I guess it's we all good. No more question unless you have something something else you would like to
add, maybe.
add, and then we close.
Yes, okay. What I would like to add, we have to, I recommend that as educators / researchers is to put more emphasis on the tools that we use in the classroom. And I see that all of you, hearing just your papers from yesterday and today, you have very fascinating ideas, the activities using in the class. I see that, we see the efforts like trying to, to foster this multilingualism and multiculturalism aspect. And I think we are doing a great job, all of us. So research also should go into that direction as well. We have to shed more lights on the issue of multiculturalism and multilingualism. And I think our very own Dr. Ayman is very big on cultural issues and culturalism. And I'd like to point out his term of yesterday, glocalization and globalization, which is very interesting term, which is worth to be looked at with more lights. I have no further comment, but I would like to thank you all for having me.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Yahia. And please don't quit. We're gonna have 10 to 15-minute closing ceremony where the president of Africa, ELTA, will address the attendees and participants and presenters. So please don't quit. In just 1 minute. Okay, so Amira, can we start? I would like to thank everyone for presenting. My name is Adi. I was the co-chair of this conference with the NISTA president, Sikumbuzo Sibanda, with a team from South Africa and Africa ELTA board members. We wanted to thank you for attending, wanted to thank you for your presentation, for your brilliant presentation from the bottom of our heart. And well, these 2 days have been really, really enriching and tough. I know you were probably alone in your room trying to reach out. Marshall McLuhan said that the media and technology are extensions of human body, our body and abilities and senses, and so we are touch away and yet we cannot touch. So to finish this conference, I wanted you and I just to touch from where you are, just try to touch, you know, like I'm trying to touch you here, you know, exactly. So this is a virtual touch, you know, to feel like we are here, we are all together. Okay. This year again, this our second virtual conference. A particular type of virtual conference. We have an hybrid conference actually, because we have a conference on WhatsApp, and it's the Africa ELTA conference where we break WhatsApp limit up to 350 and more participants in WhatsApp group. You know, so WhatsApp even is a great tool that Africa ELTA is using to to support teachers in Côte d'Ivoire, in Africa. And the next conference, we promise a face-to-face one. We do promise, but I think we'll keep the WhatsApp presentation, even if we're having a face-to-face one. So this is all I wanted to say for this closing ceremony. I'll leave the floor to Africa ELTA president to address the participant and attendees.
Thank you, Adi. I think you said everything I wanted to say. I just wanted to to thank everyone and to say that this has been really a great event, because we got to meet all our colleagues and friends from Africa and also outside Africa. And thank you for all the work that you have done, Adi, as a conference co-chair. This has been really a tough job, and you have done an excellent job. And thank you also to Nayetsa for being partners in this conference. Thank you to all the moderators, and I'd like to mention them by name. Thank you to those who were moderating during the conference, so also to those who were with us in the tech check. Thank you to Patricia, Rajes, Ritabil, Kasum, Irene, Mahamba, Musa, Okan, Ayman, Idi, of course, on WhatsApp, and all the WhatsApp moderators. I've asked Idi to send me the names, but I don't think he has seen my message, but I'd like to thank all of them. I'd also like to thank our board members who have been very supportive before and during the event as well. And I'd like to thank our board advisor, Harry Kucha, because he has offered his Zoom account for us to use during the conference, and he had to sign up for Zoom to be able to attend the sessions. Thank you, Harry, for this. And also I'd like to thank our featured and plenary speakers who have given us from their expertise and time to benefit our members and teachers in Africa and internationally. And of course, thank you to all our attendees who have made this conference a big success, because without you, we couldn't have a conference. So thank you for joining us online in August. And as Adi said, we are planning next year to have our face-to-face conference. We hope to have you and others as well joining us in our face-to-face conference in one of the African countries. So please stay tuned for this news coming up very soon after the deadline for application closes and we vet applications to choose the winner. Thank you all. This is everything I wanted to say, and I wish we meet next year. Maybe not in August, but we are going to meet face to face and enjoy another great conference for Africa ELTA.
Okay, so this said,
Thank you, Amira. Can I suggest a group photo, please?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
But okay, this will have to promote everyone then to be a panelist.
Yeah, or just allow them to share their cameras.
African sky with all its stars. Walk on African soil, feel earth, heal your scars. Climb mountains, drink from fountains, cross streams towards your dreams. Yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Southern skies and stars of the night of dreams of Africa. Hold on, hold on. Hey, hey, Abantu be Africa. Inhliziyo bezinye abantu beAfrika. Abantu beAfrika.
Okay, now we can take that nice picture before we leave.
Good idea, Ayman. It's very good idea. I like it, the group picture.
Don't give me a hard time here. Okay.
It's giving you a hard time, right? Let me take this one. Perfect. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right.
You did it.
Yeah, when you good, you're good.
You're gonna promote me again.
I think it was me. Okay. Well, I'm good. Samira,
I want to be on the photo.
yeah. I'm going to stop the music.
Yeah, can you promote me again so I can open my camera?
Ayman is asking to be promoted again so he can make the camera.
Okay, he really wants this photo. Okay.
Yeah, I want to have my photo taken.
Okay. Open the camera. I think your camera is
You
muted.
can just open your camera, Ayman. You are a panelist.
No, I'm not. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let me.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, we lost you. Okay, so now you are going to be promoted.
Mhm.
Where's Ellie? Ellie's not here.
Yeah, and
I see Abigail, but not Ellie. Our WhatsApp stars.
do we have Mahamba here as well? Irene, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, where is Ayman?
I'm here.
He's there.
Okay, so I can take the photo
Was
now.
trying to run away. I got him back.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Taken. Okay.
All
Well,
right. Great.
yeah. Thank you very much, all.
Are you guys going to share this picture on WhatsApp group or something so we can?
It will be on Facebook.
On Facebook. Okay, great. Great.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
2 thumbs up.